Welcome back to the Unconquered Podcast, everybody. We are in the middle of our film session on the Florida State spring game. We are picking up with I want to say this is the fifth or sixth drive of the spring game, but picking up with about 5 minutes left in the first quarter. We're going to get through a good portion of the second quarter here, and then we'll wrap up again, but don't want to go too long here. Again, we're going to be evaluating both what we see in terms of scheme and players here. So let's go back and take a look at what we've got. All right, once again, you notice the 3-4 type look, but again, it's effectively a four-man front, but what you're basically getting out of this is more two-gapping from the guys up front here. And now, again, we see out of this shell, we're going to get a cut-down split. There's nobody out here, and we're going to get a jet sweep action out of this, and the other split is especially wide on the outside here. You're trying to keep this Will Backer a little bit more to the perimeter to eliminate some pursuit angles there. So now we're going to get this jet sweep action, and this is that little jet sweep pass that we see out of here. Now, a few things here. One, note the double teams on the interior to the play side. This is something that, again, the way that they do this in the Brile system, come off the ball and try to create some separation with some double teams. This is something like duo, actually, on the front side, where you have a double team of the 3 technique or 4-eye, depending on what defense you're looking at. But basically, this is a 3 technique in this defensive front. You have a double team of the strong side defensive tackle and a double team of the defensive end. So what that does is that means that you're not having to one-on-one block anybody there. The real concern here against a quality team and against what you've got here for Florida State is this backside, this one technique defensive tackle who can cause some serious problems for you if you are. Let me get my my mouse size just a little bit bigger for you. Basically, that backside defensive tackle can cause some significant problems for you. This is Marvin Wilson if he's able to cross the face of the backside guard and shoot that gap inside the center. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to keep that closed. Everybody steps close enough so that you get the double team here without creating enough space for this guy to leak through. That's putting a lot of responsibility on the backside guard. That's where the real weakness of this potentially is. But anyway, what we're trying to do on offense here, if we're Briles, is we're trying to get this double team here, and now you've got a two-way go, and you've got a lead blocker, so this turns into kind of an ISO sweep. Lead blocker on the edge, and ideally, if you can get him sealed on the edge, this defensive end, and that's Kando. If you can get that end sealed, and then you can get a cut here, you've got a pretty good play here. Matthews tries to cut this inside because Kando actually does a good job of creating a little bit of penetration here. This is where you'd like to see a little bit better from Jawan Williams, and I don't like that crossover step right there. That is a very weak position. You never want to see that crossover step that much. You want to see quicker feet than to get in that position there. You want that foot to be off the ground already. But both guys are doing that. They clearly teach a little bit of a crossover, but you've got to be able to get there. You've got to be able to get your other foot down and be able to provide some leverage earlier to be able to do this. Now, McDonald as the H-back, I would like to see get a little bit more of a hand here, because if he's able to do this, the design of this is to pin this guy inside. Now you've got the edge and you've got a lead blocker. That's when that play becomes good. Matthews is looking to cut this up a little too early, in my opinion. But again, that's partly because this block isn't executed on the double as well as it should be. I am really pleased though with what I see here from the center and the guard. This is pretty good from Meadows there. I'm sorry, from Armstrong, from Christian Armstrong. I get those guys mixed up a little bit, but from Christian Armstrong, getting those hips turned, and now you've got a nice little bit up front. Now the thing is, Matthews is not somebody you want running up between the tackles much, and he's only going to get a couple yards there as a result. But you can see that blocking wise, this isn't bad. If he's able to keep this outside, if you get this right here, and he just bends this outside a little bit more, you got a one-on-one here, and he's hitting that edge, and this is probably an 8 or 10 yard play. He just cuts it up a little too early. With a bigger player, maybe that works a little bit better, but so now we see a different scenario where you've got basically a loaded formation to the boundary. And this is something that Briles is doing more these days. You're seeing an H-back and twins to the boundary. So something like tripes with the back to the boundary as well. Now, what this suggests to me is if I'm looking at tendencies, I'm going to expect the H-back to split zone this, and you're going to get inside zone, split zone here with an inside zone look. That's what I'm going to be expecting out of this formation. And instead, we see a play action. And what are you trying to do? You're trying to look at that one-on-one at the top of the screen. The problem is the defense is sitting on that. This is a bad decision by the quarterback. If you're looking at numbers here, you have your 3 over here, your backers here, so you got 2 over 2 in terms of defensive backs. This is a quarters look from the defense, which is what you're going to expect from Florida State defensively. You got a quarters look, and there's no vertical threat to hold this safety. So if there's no vertical threat on this side to hold this safety now becomes a robber. That's the way that quarters works. He's going to have to work back to any vertical threat from this side. He's going to get his eyes to this side, looking for any vertical threat or anything coming across the field. And if that's not there, then he just becomes a robber and robs anything below what you're seeing here. And this is a very dangerous throw. So you see a play action, eyes get there, and you notice he's already undercutting that. This should be a pick six. If Dent's just a little bit older, he takes that to the house. Recognition's pretty good for a true freshman, though. Get that mouth guard in your face, in your mouth. Come on, man. Jalen Ramsey's been a bad influence. Leads to more concussions when you don't have it in. But where this should have gone is right here. You've got play action against quarters. Here's your easy play. Taking a big risk there. He read that side the whole way, and I'm just not sure what he's seeing there. It's a bad decision. Going to DeMarcus Adams, who looks better than maybe I thought he would at this stage. Missed a play there. And now we get another punt. No. Briles and his one of his QC guys, GAs. And what he's telling him, let's go ahead and take a look at this. He said, you cut it up to, let's take a look at the wording here. Cut it up too fast, cut it up too early. Get outside. See, that's what he wants. That's why he's coming over there, because that play was there if he's able to keep that outside. Okay, now we don't, as is often the case because of poor direction, we don't see the beginning of this, but we can get some indication based on what we've got here. We've got a play action with the back. Everything is a sweep to this side, and then they are keying off of the 3/3 situation here. Well, you only have 2/3. That makes this an easy decision to throw the screen to the field because you only have two defenders wide. Here's your third defender. You got your defensive end who has to commit to that. This becomes a very easy screen. You're going to see a lot of this year from Briles' Florida State offense. And then again, you get a double team at the point of attack, working as a combo block up to the second level, and Terry is able to get about 6 yards. This really should have gotten more, but they're not doing as good a job blocking up front as they need to. Those two now sophomores, you got to be able to make that block. But not bad, six yards. Listen, if they can get 6 yards on first down this year on the regular basis, that's a major improvement on anything they did last year. So now you're in what we used to call rifle, but you can see this is the old traditional Baylor splits, very wide splits. So now you basically have you're going to expect some sort of play action with a down the field, maybe a little bit of an in route from the slots or something along those lines, and then if it's not play action, you're going to get something on the inside as an inside run generally. But second down, you're going to expect a pass, and that's what you get. Pass sets here. And this is a double move, and what I want to call attention to now. First of all, notice this is not bad protection. You can live with this. Now, in terms of pass rush, this is also, you're not going to live with this pass rush. This is not, you're not getting Brian Burns coming off the edge here. I mean, this is the hesitation, waiting here on that side. So he's got enough time to step up and get this off. But I do want to call attention to the technique here on the edge. So this is 75. This is Bello. And the technique here is so much better than last year that when I first saw him in the scrimmage the week before, I actually asked, who's 75? And I should know who 75 is. I mean, it's Bello. But I didn't recognize him. Thought it was a different player. So this is pretty good. So he gets wide. Notice shoulders are still square. Shoulders are square. Turns just a little bit to meet him here. Like to see the shoulders stay a little more square at that point, but that's acceptable. That is at least survivable on the edge. Same thing here. Get deep, get your depth. And then you see the lack of strength from Goss up at the top. He's getting run through a little bit. And this is the danger, by the way. Notice the shoulders are facing the sideline a little bit. And this is something, all of you who are watching this, you can take a look at this in any game where you see a guy come off the edge. You're normally going to see that offensive tackle's shoulders get pointed to the sideline too early. And that's what happens here. He's got to get a little deeper pass set with level shoulders or with parallel shoulders here to the line of scrimmage rather than getting parallel to the sideline. Because what happens is this shoulder is now soft and the defensive end is going to be able to rip through that and pull to the quarterback. Now, again, he's able to hold him up enough to get that ball off. In a game, he's going to take a shot there, but that ball's still off. That's not bad. Pretty good here from 59. That's that's Brady Scott. That's Brady Scott up against Cedric Wood. Not bad. Now, downfield, what you have is you basically have you have pump and goes from each guy, and then you've got one outlet up here at the top. So everybody else is running pump and goes. Here's your if there's nothing, you come down to that quickly. But it's quarters, and you get the safety that bites on it. And Helton is a pretty good player. And you get the block in the back by Terry here, which is inexcusable. That never should have happened. Nice job by Helton, though. Good ball by Blackman. But basically, you're beating a third, fourth, fifth string guy out there. So that's spring game stuff. You just have to take that into account. But scheme-wise, you see what's there. You're going to get some pump and goes and that sort of thing out of that kind of look. All right, so now you're back in 11 personnel, and now from here, you've got width. So now you're looking at an inside run usually, and this is actually this is power here. So you're going to get pulling guard, pulling H-back, and he's going to follow behind. Now, notice they're doing that from the back on the side of the side that they're running power to. So this is a nice wrinkle, because a lot of times you're going to expect power with the H-back here and the back following there. They're going to do it as this is kind of a counter look. Back takes the ball, moving against the flow, and then cuts back to the power. I really like this run concept, because what you're doing is you're forcing, watch the steps of the linebackers. Forward, not bad. That's pretty good, actually. But he's so tight because he's not already headed this way. And now you're able to get up and under. It's a really good block by McKitty there. And that's a true freshman, so he gets a little out physicaled at the point of attack. He's going to get better there. But you're able to get a seam partly because of that natural counteraction. It goes against the flow. And that natural counteraction, what really that gives you is, watch the end here. Whoops. He's chasing this way because he sees the action going here. He does not expect that to be coming back to him. It's almost like a trap for the defensive end side for that end. It's almost like a trap power. He gets moving too far underneath. You can't run around that. Now, defensively, what has to happen here, he has to step inside. He has to see the puller, and he should be hitting this with his shoulder right now. He should be near leg, near shoulder. And instead of trying to run around that block, take that block on head on right there. And now you've got no space here. And when the back cuts back, he's going to have to cut back outside you. You get your outside arm to the ball, and you're fine. But because he tries to run around, that's what opens up that space, and it's all part of the counter design here. Nicely designed play. Just poor execution by the defense, though. Who is that? 58. That's Briggs. He's got to come flatter and more physical. And what do they do again? They come back and they run exactly the same play. And once again, Briggs gets too far into the backfield. He's got to be pushing this near leg, near shoulder there. Same play. First down. That's good. Look, this is where the Florida State defense should still be pretty good. I mean, you look at their defensive tackles, you look at what they've got up front. You've got pretty decent size at the backers there. And they're running the football here with this offensive line. And this is not just the one's offensive line either. I mean, this is pretty good. This is where some of the more encouraging stuff is on the Florida State offensive side. And I want to highlight this too. Once again, double team at the point of attack. And watch Bello drive the D tackle back. Same thing here. Once again, Bello winning his matchup against the defensive tackle. Once again, I'm going to run. This is a similar concept, but this is just split zone. Inside zone. Now, again, I want to call attention to this is inside zone. Notice how they are stepping forward and they are getting double teams. The aim is to get movement forward, which is a distinct part of what Briles and Clements do in terms of how they teach the zone. They're emphasizing double teams at the point of attack, and they're going to get vertical from those. And you'll get to the backers as well, but the priority is to get the double team and get vertical movement so that you're creating a vertical seam. This is what they did at Baylor. Double team, kick out block. And yeah, there's a little leakage there, but the back is gonna win that as often as not. And what this does is this means that if you're not as good up front in terms of player for player, you're still getting a double team, guard and tackle against your defensive tackle, center and guard against the other defensive tackle. And then as the backers come in, there's still no leakage. You're not getting hit in the backfield there. That's a big deal. And again, this is what I would do in the running game, given what Florida State's offensive line looks like. And this is why Clements is very confident behind the scenes right now that they're going to have a decent offensive line this year. He keeps saying behind the scenes, no, we'll be fine. We're going to be good enough. So, that's interesting to hear. I mean, and it's not bravado. I mean, there is some quiet confidence from that group behind the scenes that no, they're going to be, we'll get it done. That's what they keep saying. And here you get, again, the same split zone. They came back to the same play. And that's one of the other things about the Briles system. It worked once. Let's run it again. And here you see that they combo these. You're moving from the double team. Brady Scott has enough here that the center recognizes, he's won that. I can come off. And then he gets to the backer. And actually, this turns out to be the I forgot this is the play action here. Same play. That's the other thing is that they will run the same play so often, and then sometimes they'll come back with that little play action. Good job by the line not getting more than 3 yards downfield. And that's McKitty. McKitty's got to make that tackle make that catch knowing that he's going to get hit low, but good job by the defense closing that down on the outside, fighting off that block. And this is the other thing here. 15 has to do a better job keeping his guy from being able to make that play. But once again, and you can you can tell what's going on here. I mean, the splits are not exactly what I'd like to see, but where they're running. Defense knew as well, and this is a good job by the freshman. He's recognizing, look, they're running right here. I'm shooting that gap because when he steps, I've got to get there. Otherwise, we're gonna lose this. Why? Well, you can see by the splits. So this is something they'll pay attention to in later stuff. You don't want to make it that easy, but good job by the freshman. And this is where, McRae has made enough of an impact that you can kind of expect him to be a player that's going to contribute next year. And again, let's look at that split. He knows where they're coming to. He's coming right to that A gap to A gap, and he's trying to beat Jay Williams, and this is where you can see that backside tackle. He's got to get across this, and that's just way too high. It's too slow on the step. If anything, he should be cutting here. If he cuts, then that's an easy walk-in. But and again, defensively, this is pretty good here. I don't like what I'm seeing from the receivers. This is not a good job by Young, he should be taking him to the outside. This is designed to go to the corner there. He's got to get him going to the outside as a fade. He's got to get his shoulders turned. He can't let him turn inside like that on that ball. That's very nearly an interception, and that's the outside wide receiver's fault. This is where Young has to sell the fade right now and has to convince that corner to turn and run with him. In terms of technique, this is where Samuel is pretty dang good. I think that's Samuel. Oh no, that's Bolden. Nice job by Bolden, keeping his eyes to the quarterback, knowing that he's on the wide side, that he has some space, and that he's a bigger guy, and then challenging that so that they just can't throw to the corner. And again, this is an obvious one against man coverage on the goal line. Generally, you can go ahead and do this, but the outside receiver has to win enough to get the corner out of the way. Bolden does a good job of not losing there. Now we get a little bit of a field goal. We'll go ahead and skip that. All right, so now back to Jordan Travis. Here's your play action, and again, this is off of dart action. So getting that puller there, and all you're doing is you're trying to pull this edge guy with the action here to keep him out, and then make sure that that end doesn't have a free run to the quarterback. Now, what concerns me here is if this end decides to come hard. And this is a protection Florida State used last year some, and they got beat up pretty good on it at times. Everybody's stepping right. If this end comes hard right now, because you have a tackle that has to step in to help get the center to that 3 technique, that's a long reach for the center. Tackle has to help. If that edge comes hard, that's really tough for the tackle to get back. But this is where the length of Neal is a big deal. 6'7", and he is every bit of 6'7". He's able to do this and do it with pretty good technique. This is encouraging from Neal. And again, I don't like that I'm seeing pass rush wise from Florida State. I think he should be getting in the backfield here. He should be going harder. Instead, he finesses that and tries to come out the other way, and it basically amounts to a 2-man rush. I don't like that at all, but that's what they're doing right now. It's basically a 2-man rush, and if he comes off the edge hard, I think he's getting pressure at least. But from the offensive side, you can see those receivers releasing, and once again, you're getting a lot of these dagger type techniques from what you've got from Baylor. Same stuff they used to run. This Briles stuff, dagger technique or dagger combo is where you've got that inside receiver is running a vertical to clear out up ahead. And again, against a quarters or 2 safety look, that's really tough. And what do? You bring that outside receiver inside to the space. And look at all that space. Oof. Tons of space. If this is an accurate throw, and Pokey needs to hit this a little harder in terms of he needs to be running just through a little bit faster. But if that ball's thrown accurately, he's still running. I mean, this is 30 or 40 yards. Now, again, what I don't like is what this says about here. Now, these are your backups. These are your walk-ons. But again, what you're doing with the play action is you're trying to force this flow with the linebackers. You're trying to get them out of that zone. This is well designed. This moves this way to get the backers to step. You're going to clear out any deeper coverage with your inside vertical, and then you're going to run this right behind the guys that you're clearing out. This is well designed. Now, if you can't run the football, if they're not stepping to this hard, this isn't going to work. But that right there, there's tons of space. You start making that throw, and guys are wide open. It's a throw you cannot miss as a quarterback. No pressure. That's a 7-on-7 throw. So here you have an RPO. Options to come up here, but it's 2 over 2, so you're not going there. You have 6 in the box against 6. So this is a run all the way. Just a little ISO. And nice job by LeBourne. Just watch this in full movement. You can see his natural agility and everything. Now, it does drive me crazy that people consistently act as though he was faster than Akers. I'm talking about a mid 4.6 guy versus a 4.4 guy. Akers was a 4.4 guy, and LeBourne was a high 4.5 to mid 4.6 guy in terms of straight speed. But he is awfully explosive in here. This is where he's special, is being able to stop and start and redirect in traffic. That's where his stuff is. Not a burner down the field, though. And that's even before the injury. So you get a little hold there. And again, max protect. That's a sack. So you're keeping 7 guys in and going with 3 out in the pattern. And what are they trying to do here? This is a little trail route. They're actually looking up here, but there's nothing. I don't like this concept for 3rd and long. And actually, I think that's one of the things that this offense is really designed to be downhill in a lot of the same ways that option offenses are. If we're looking 3rd and long, this is not an offense that, has the Jimbo Fisher 3rd and long packages, but they're going to try not to be in 3rd and long a bunch. And there is no offense that's good in 3rd and long. So, it's nitpicking to talk about, well, I don't really like that concept. Well, you're trying to protect your quarterback with 7 and releasing those 3. There's not a whole lot you can do. So, all right. And here you get another 3rd and long. Actually, I guess that last one was 2nd and long. And what do you have here? Once again, outside receiver on the dig. And this is a similar concept to what they did with coming across as well. But what we've got here, you've got a vertical stem from the H-back, knowing that you're going to face quarters. And by releasing him the way that he does, you're forcing the backer to get wide. So that's almost like a little chip. Not real good from the tackle here. You notice he's a little off balance and lunging, but can survive it. But by releasing vertically, the safety has to honor that, and now you hit right behind that safety. Nice design here. Now I want you to pay attention right here. First of all, you get the defensive end drops. So look how quickly, though, look how quickly Neal recognizes he doesn't have anybody and then just decides to put Durden on his back. I like that from the tackle, from the freshman. What I don't like is right here. He should not be coming downhill to this. He's got to get depth, because this is actually where he should be getting his hand on the ball. Nice job by Travis firing that in. And Pokey Wilson, to me, really has impressed me as a, looks kind of like Rashad Green in that 80. So, that's pretty good. All right, let's go ahead and move to the second quarter here. Do just one or two other drives, and then we'll wrap that, and we'll save a little bit more for the next next time through. All right, now we have second quarter here. Got a little punt. Move that down. All right. Okay. So once again, got 11 personnel. A little wider split this time, so they're not telegraphing that it's a jet just by getting him in. So I like that. And out of this, you get the same jet. And once again, the issue here to me is they've got to do a better job of handling the edge here. I'd like to see McKitty get a little bit more. Don't just run by him. McKitty needs to get his hand on the shoulder pad and kind of push. And then get to the second level there. In the back, I'd like to see a cut. Cut that guy. Cut him. Now, in a game, he probably cuts him. I mean, there are times where I know in spring scrimmages and so on, we kind of had an arrangement with the defensive guys that we wouldn't cut because of they're our teammates. But you do need to cut in the box. This should probably be a cut. And on the inside here, Brady Scott needs to do a better job. This is more like what we saw last year in the offensive line. Brady Scott steps to his assignment here, and he's his job is to make sure that he's neutralized in a double team with the center. Well, both guys let him go. That's really not what you want. So this is a miscommunication up front. He and Bavion Johnson. And Johnson needs to get a better step to the left here anyway. But you can't let him go until you know that your teammate has him. And both guys just let that front side defensive tackle go. He flows down and takes that away. It's just not very good across the board. I mean, basically no one made their block there. So sorry, Trayshawn. 11 personnel, nice little play action, but the ball handling here is not so good. The center snap is fine, but the catch isn't, and then that's late. That ball should be out now. Right now, ball's out, and that's like DeAndre Francois timing. You can't have that. If you're that late against experienced quality corners, that's a pick six, and yeah, you can't do that. Too late. Okay, now a couple things here. One thing I've noticed is last year when they ran verticals, they would run them from this split or even wider. And how many times last year did we see corners just basically push guys to where they had no space and the ball would go out of bounds, or there was just it was a difficult catch from the receiver? That's traditionally, the Briles offense has used those wide splits on verticals, and they rely on the corners staying on the inside and ultimately being able to run by. This year, though, you notice this is what you're seeing. Briles and Dugans and that group, they're cutting some splits when they're expecting some verticals here at times. This is a tendency that they've gone a little bit differently from the past, and certainly from last year, because this allows you to hold your line and give some space to the quarterback to throw outside the defensive back here. So that's what you're seeing. Now, the other reason that you would cut this split is for him to come inside, and so that means it's not a telegraph. Just oh, he's cut his split just slightly, so he's running a vertical. And they've run some verticals from excuse me, from the outside position, but they're just not as predictable in terms of their splits as they were last year. This split gets cut down. The reason that this is cut down is because he's running a crossing route. And this is where Goss just has a little ways to go in terms of strength. Oof. So, not so good there. Not bad though from Bello. Bello survives his matchup. And so you get one guy that gets run through, but the rest is okay, and that actually gives you enough as a quarterback to get that ball out. And notice again, there is an outlet in what they're doing. Get it out, survive, live to see another play. So let's look at this from the line perspective again. I just don't like this false step. Watch. See that? It means you're not getting off very fast. That little skip there. He needs to be off the line now. He should be right here already, and he's not. But in terms of what you're seeing from Evan Neal here, or from Neal here, Evan Neal, I keep a little wishful thinking here, right? But Chaz Neal, Evan Neal would certainly be out there as a starter right now. But Chaz Neal, what you're seeing from Chaz Neal here is good enough. That's not bad. And again, the technique can improve. I don't like how he's given a off shoulder here, but the feet and the length are suggestive of somebody that can play. So I'm somewhat encouraged there. Now, this is where you have a potential All-American against a redshirt freshman. And again, what I do like, watch Williams stick with this technique. Shoulders stay square. Inside attack gets handled. Now, that's not a very good inside move by Warner. He's got to work on that, on selling that outside move, but very good from Williams, which is not something I've said a whole lot. But really where this goes wrong, right there, that's, Armstrong against Marvin Wilson, not really a fair matchup. They're single blocking that, and yeah, he gets beat pretty bad. And that's what causes that leakage. But you can see what's really good here is he gets his hands inside first. Can't let that happen as an offensive tackle. Gets his hands inside, rips. That's good technique. And that's just being a stronger, better player at this stage. But we come back. Once again, pretty good technique here. That's survivable. Technique here, it's okay. And you've got a back to help a little bit. Meadows survives. Got a double on the other tackle. Nice step up and into the throw by Travis. I won't spend too much time on that particular concept because it's not that important. So here's another way that they're finding ways to get the ball out of the quarterback's hands. This is basically a triple option type look. This is, if you've got, imagine this is under the center. This is Georgia Tech stuff. Get that out on the edge, and now you've just got to win the blocks out here, and you've got a first down. Now, this is where Gaynor can't let himself get blocked like that by the inside receiver. A little bit of a hold, but he's got to win that. So once again, here's where you get that trips to the boundary plus the back to the boundary. You're trying to create a one-on-one with a lot of space to this side. And if they don't match your numbers, then you've got some nice stuff to the boundary. And once again, what are they doing? You always have that outlet. They're trying to get verticals. Little hesitation, and then a little wheel route here. Vertical, and then you got a vertical down here. If everybody's going to take the verticals, that's a run play. This is third down. You've got 10 yards between him and anybody else, 12 yards. Get it to him. Let's see if you can get your first down. Just put that shoulder down and get there, and dang near got your first down. So now it's 4th and 1. I'm sorry, that was first down. I thought that was a 4 on the... should remember that. Yep, it's first down. So now you got 9 yards on first down. Easy. And when you got big receivers out there like Gavin, that makes that even better. You got to get a guy to come up and tackle him. Once again, in the running game, take note of what they're trying to do up front. When did we see this last year? Where's the line of scrimmage? Line of scrimmage is here. Watch when the ball snapped. Where's the line of scrimmage now? Where's the offensive line now? That didn't happen last year at all. And you can take a screenshot of this. This right here, keep in mind, this is against some good defensive tackles. I mean, that's Durden. I'm not sure who the other is, but they are getting mauled up front. This is good technique. This is what, and you know, I'd seen on Twitter a while back, somebody had asked me about a couple of the drills that I'd seen Clements doing with this group, and asked what I thought of them, and I was really pleased by what I saw, because what they were working on was proper combo blocks, and that's what you see here. Look at this. Combo on the tackle, get to the backer, combo on the other tackle, and just drive him. And yeah, you know what? That backside end comes free, but you're getting 4 yards before you're getting touched. That didn't happen at all last year. I mean, if you're Akers, you're just going straight downhill here. But look at the movement. Defense is going backwards. Offensive line moving forwards, because you're getting 2 double teams at the point of attack, and you're just settling on, well, that guy might make the tackle in pursuit, but we're going to win here enough that I can just have my guy go forward. This is Veer football. Running tracks, just getting to the backers. Now, this could be a little better from Jawan Williams. That's a whiff. But that's a whiff you'll take, because what do you tell him here? The one place you can't get beat. You cannot let him cross your face. If he's going to go outside, well, okay. Well, he whiffs, but he gets outside. You can survive that whiff. Sort of like in golf. If you're going to miss, and you're going to miss most shots, miss in the right spots. Can't short side yourself. Same thing. So, got 4 wide again. You get dart action. So, once again, that protection where get a little play action, and again, the design, you're forcing these guys to react downhill. This guy in particular is your conflict player. And I don't know if this is an RPO or not. I think this is an RPO. No, that's not an RPO. Look at his eyes. Okay. Because you can RPO this too, and RPO based on this player here. This is play action all the way. Yeah, that's play action. If you look at the line too, they're not getting downfield. So That's play action. You're relying on him to come downhill against the play action, and what are you doing? You're hitting it right behind him. This is going to be a real pain to play against for teams that don't have outstanding backers. Now, this is better. You notice that earlier when you had the H-back on the vertical, I was not happy with the backer coming downhill to that too much. Here he does a little better job of getting vertical and trying to take away that over the middle route. He's got to know that the back has it before he gets too far downhill here. He's still a little bit out of position. You want to see him recognize. So he's got to look here, and as soon as he sees this, he's got to get his eyes, the outside of his eyes. He's got to see out of the corner of his eyes this release, and he's got to make sure he doesn't lose his depth. Now Travis, that's not bad, but he's got to put that just a little bit less mustard on this. Still needs to be caught though. What he's seeing is he's seeing footsteps, and good job by Dent. The other Dent. This is Dent dropping it, hearing the footsteps of his brother. Not targeting here. Ideally, you want to go low in a game because you're going to get targeting it for anything else, so take his knees out. Once again here, what are you reading as a quarterback? Very easy for the quarterback. 1-2 over 3. This is a pre-snap RPO. We're running the screen. Easy. You see 1-2 over 3, get it out there. If he comes out here, now you're running the football. Not a bad cut by DJ Matthews here. And then Dent with an okay block on the outside. It's not bad. But all you're doing here, this is numbers. This is numbers. All you're trying to do is get, this is second and 10. If you get 6, you're back in leverage. Get 5, you're okay. Not bad by Pokey. That's what you want. Now you're in a decent, gettable third down call. That's all you're looking for there. That's a run play. Now it's 3rd and 3.5. Note again the decreased split, the diminished split here. So the thing is, this gives you, defensively, you can do a couple things out of it. You can either get across the field to a flood type thing earlier, or you can try to use that space and expand on that side. What I like here is what they do with a little follow route. This could be a little bit better executed, but what they run is a little, what you might call a like a search route, something like that from Pokey. He's just finding space, and then a little Texas route, little angle route from Akers, and both of them were open because the backers are expanding to them. This is not very good from Brooks. The backers here are a mess. If one of them comes out, one of them has to stay in. You can't have both guys coming out. This is very poor on a route matching level. That's a really good catch by Pokey Wilson for a first down. Same basic concept. Actually, I would call that a hunt route, but anyway. So this is the same play. Get vertical, vertical. Here's your check down. Little hunt route here, hunting for space behind the backers, and then you've got a trail of the hunt to Akers. Good job by the corner coming up and making a tackle. But again, you're now 2nd and 6. You got space. Getting, your positive yards. So here's that dart action, and this is where I don't really like this because you're having to help so much on him with that tackle that if that end comes hard, there's just no way to block him. Quarterback recognizes, and this is a good job by Travis, recognizing, like, I got nothing. There's probably scores in a game. Falls forward. Still manages to get a positive play. And why? Because there's not a whole lot of leakage on the inside. Once again, Neal steps inside, does a good job taking that double team. And, Neal and Lucas look pretty good on the field together. So that's something, positive for the future. Neal is looking better than I think anybody expected for him coming in. And once again, now you get this is your Georgia Tech type thing. This is triple option. Reading your end. There's your pitch. And what this allows, this is veer option. This is straight veer. You're going to get a double team up to the backer. Double team. And then work the tackle inside as well. So you should be able to run through these tackles. These tackles are going to have to hold up defensively against double teams to be able to stop the run here. When was the last time you saw Jawan Williams hold up like that? Now, granted, that's against 93. This is not, Marvin Wilson here, but that's still progress. Other thing that I like to see, look at the technique here. And again, this is where if the technique just improves a little bit, it's not like they have just terrible players out here. They have guys that were 4 stars, that were high 3 stars. The technique is here, and I've talked about this on prior videos. What you teach your linemen to do on these double team, on these combo blocks, is you have to communicate up front, but you don't communicate verbally. You communicate by smashing your shoulder pads together. When you feel your shoulder pads hit, and there's nobody in between you, then you know that you can pass off to the next guy. Look at this. Shoulder pads hit, and now Meadows can find his next guy, because once the shoulder pads hit, his job of helping pass the tackle to the offensive tackle, to Williams, is done. Now Williams just has to set his hips to turn it out, and he does that. That's a win. That technique is exactly what you want to see. Bounce those shoulder pads, turn the hips, move on to the second level. That's just beautiful. I mean, if you're an offensive line guy, that is beautiful. I would be thrilled if I were Clements on this play. I mean, I've already flagged a few others that were just like last year, but this one's progress. Then on this side, they're not comboing. That is a straight double team. And what do you see? Boom. Shoulders together. Short, choppy steps, lift, push to the end zone. That's a win. And the thing is, they push him back into his backer. So this backer is taken care of because his defensive tackle's in his lap. That's what you want. That's vertical displacement. This is Briles football right here. This is what they want to do. They want to spread you out and then double team your tackles and run right down your throat. That is Briles football. And finally, on the edge, Neal, look at the balance. That's excellent. He's not whiffing like what we saw from 73 earlier on the same type of play where, we'll let him go outside. He just stays there. That's a win. This this is maybe the most encouraging play of the entire scrimmage because of what you're seeing from redshirt freshman, true freshman, redshirt freshman, and a guy who was awful last year, and then a walk-on center. I mean, that is a big, big amount of progress up front, and you're seeing, again, it's a matter of doing things right. That if you're running the Briles scheme, you've got to be able to do that stuff. And I'm going to go ahead and wrap there because that's an encouraging spot to wrap for this particular session. I'll come back. We'll pick back up with this next one for the next video that I post. But again, if we start to see them build on that kind of offensive line play, and again, I'll go back to it just a little bit. If we see this kind of offensive line play, to where you're seeing defensive lines not only not come free, where's the penetration? There's not only no penetration, but you're getting guys going backwards at the point of attack. Listen, Akers and LeBourne and that group, they can do some damage if they're getting into the secondary like this. That right there, I'll just let the image speak for itself. We'll go ahead and wrap there. Thanks for tuning into this, and I will have another one coming very shortly looking through the rest of the second quarter.